Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.
Hi, everyone. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm Lee Burkeen, your host. We've got a great guest today. I like to do North Louisiana every week, and we do South Louisiana. We take turns. We do 3 shows a week. And before we introduce our guest, who's from Shreveport, Louisiana, Northwood High School, Austin Brown. We'll introduce Austin in a minute. I want to mention our preview magazine is at the printer, and it'll be ready in a couple of weeks. We'll get it back in about 2 weeks, and we'll get it out in 3 weeks to any mom and dads that are listening in the state. We have all the high schools in it. Northwood's one that's featured pretty heavily with their team. And without waiting any longer, I want to go ahead and introduce Austin Brown to the show. Coach, thanks for joining us from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm excited to get our boys, get their name out there and talk a little bit about this 2022 team.
Coach, you were telling me off the air, and I didn't know this, but you're originally from Oklahoma, and you told me you went to Lawton High School, which is, man, growing up, I've seen a lot of blue-chip guys come out of Lawton High School. Yeah,
it's very, very tradition-rich. Will Shields, who's in the NFL Hall of Fame. Antonio Perkins, which was the all-time punt returner in NCAA. So those are guys that I grew up idolizing, and my grandpa was one of them as well. And so it's very tradition-rich, and it was exciting times growing up, going to those football games.
You were talking about Jenks High School. A lot of great players come out of there, and Tulsa Union. They've won many championships in Jenks, and my stepdad, Carl Thompson, went to Muskogee High School, which they have had a lot of talent, and I've got friends that live in Tahlequah. I know you know where that's at too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Muskogee, the Okie from Muskogee. They made a couple country songs about Muskogee.
Yeah.
It's Jenks and Tulsa Union. We had many battles with them. I always compare them to the West Monroe of Oklahoma.
That's a good comparison, Coach. That's an army of a team there, and Jenks has always been nationally ranked, too. Like I remember growing up, if you picked up the USA Today paper, they were in the top 10, 20, or top 15 in the country for high schools.
Yeah, they're every bit as good as the best teams in Texas and Louisiana. They still are, but yeah, they're the last 30 years, 25 years, they've dominated Oklahoma football.
Tell everybody, Coach Brown, how you made it to Louisiana all the way from Oklahoma. They'd love to hear your story, how you became a coach here in Louisiana.
Yeah, I played college there in Kansas, and a couple of my buddies had connections here to Northwestern State. So I came in GA'd under Bradley Dale Pivoteau and Brad Laird, which was an amazing experience. It's good to start your career working for someone like Bradley Dale, because it's never going to get harder than what that was. But I'll tell you, he's a great man. But then I met my wife there at Northwestern State. We were both in graduate school together, and I love Louisiana. I love the culture. I love the life. There's so much life here and everybody in Louisiana. So I decided to stay, had a daughter, and got out of college, and have been at Natchitoches Central for a couple of years, and I've been at Northwood now for 5 years.
Coach Brown's with us, Coach Austin Brown, the head coach at Northwood High School in Shreveport, which is a heck of a program right now. And Austin's done a great job, and the coaches before him did good jobs. I mean, it's been growing every year, and you look at the players that have come out of there under the radar. Not to me, but I was pumping Markeith Stevenson back in the day, who went to Houston University, coach, and he's an NFL guy, a great receiver, was one of the best receivers in college football a couple of years ago.
Yeah, hey, I came the year after Marquez graduated, but I've seen the highlight films. I've seen him return kickoffs for punt returns for touchdowns where it looks like everybody else on the field standing still.
Right.
His speed was there's a track speed and football speed, and he had both.
Right.
Sometimes people think just because you're fast, it's going to translate to the football field, and it doesn't. But his does, and you saw those skills in the NFL preseason last year, return a punt versus Chicago Bears. his speed. And the great thing is he still comes out. He came out this summer and worked out with the boys, did a 2-hour workout with our boys in the weight room on the field. So he's still coming back home and growing those roots from where he came and giving our boys a lot of life and hope that they can make it one day.
Coach, I remember when I was going on KTBS in Shreveport on Friday nights, I was pumping him and saying, he's LSU good. And people said, well, he's not ranked. He can't be. I said, well, don't get caught up into those rankings because you can play or you can't. And there's a lot of guys that can play that aren't ranked very high. And you've got some of those guys like that. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Coach Austin Brown, the head coach at Northwood High School in Shreveport, Louisiana. We'll be right back. Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom-tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage. Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm Lee Burkeen. Our guest is Austin Brown, head coach of Northwood High School. If you don't know much about Northwood, man, it is competitive as can be with the teams they play. I mean, they're in a tough district. We're going to talk about some of the teams they go against, but I want to go ahead and recognize a sponsor of ours, John Harvey Toyota. Make sure that you check them out if you need a new or used car. John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, and Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Honest people, low prices. Tell them Lee sent you. Great people at that place. I mean, John Harvey, great folks. Appreciate their support with the show. Coach, getting to Northwood, people that don't know a lot about Northwood, they might hear this show in Lafayette. You know, you might hear this show in Baton Rouge or New Orleans. We go all over the state. So tell everybody what you'd like to tell them about Northwood, because I first of all, I think y'all look like University of Texas when y'all put your uniforms on. They look pretty neat, and you know you've got that burnt orange look. You know, it looks like the Texas Longhorns when y'all take the field.
Yes, sir. Yeah. In fact, being from Oklahoma, my dad is a diehard Sooners fan, and he will not wear our school colors. I send him free T-shirts and gear, and if I send him burnt orange, he ain't gonna wear it. I got to send him gray or black or something like that. But yeah, it is unique. It's a little hard to buy gear and buy clothes because only Nike covers the true burnt orange. But you know, we also got teal and white in our color scheme. So little, you know, having teal is a little eccentric as well. So we got a pretty recognizable color scheme. I
love the uniforms. I think they're very similar to UT, but they're nice. I love the look in the helmets, the white helmets, and you've got a great program coach, a great staff. I was able to talk to your receivers coach, Jeff Green, interviewing some of you guys. Was able to talk to your D-line coach, some of you guys coming up. It seems like, you know, your senior group is one of probably the strongest senior group I've ever seen at Northwood for prospects. And, you know, a lot of that goes credit to you and your staff for development of these guys, you know, because I don't think the high school coaches get enough credit for development, and people just mention where the prospects are and, you know, who the kids are. But y'all doing a good job, Coach, developing these kids. We're going to go over these kids today, and I'm going to throw them out to you and promote them. But what is it about your staff? I mean, y'all a young staff that's come in and really done a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact we've got the best staff there in Shreveport, Bossier, and it's not just teachers that are coaches. Everybody on staff works at the school, so we don't have the CECP coaches that may or may not show up. So we're all full-time coaches, whether they're on stipend or not. They're there every day during the summer. You know, I know everybody puts in time and puts in hours, but it's very impressive the heart our guys have. Of course, for full-time coaches, we're gonna do all the X's and O's, but you know, we kind of give a little allowance for each coach every week to take their position group out and eat lunch and, you know, try and develop the whole athlete, not just the football player. I think the best thing my staff does is really get to know and love their athletes, and I think that translates to the field.
Coach, y'all do the team bonding smart because you learn that in college because they give stipends for that in college. I know that's something that you brought to the high school, and not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, we try and run. In fact, we just got done with our lock-in. So we had a lock-in for 3 days, stayed the night in the gym on air mattresses and cot, and went from 6 to 9 every day. But most of that time was spent in one-on-one meetings or having guest speakers come and asking tough questions and really getting to know these kids. And, sometimes when you're a big-time recruit like Darius Collins and Moss, just a simple word to a little freshman is going to mean the world to him. So we did that for the past 3 days, and it was great. I think it's going to help translate to the season, especially later on.
Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to start talking about your players and how good some of these guys are and some of your sleepers too. We'll be back with more of Coach Austin Brown, Northwood High School in Shreveport. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. We'll be right back. Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads & Care Tire Company located in Central. Call 331-8144. Family owned and operated. It's 1971. That's 331-8144. Welcome back. Before we go to Coach Brown with Northwood High School, we want to talk about his big-time recruits. We want to thank Gross Savon. If you want to go on the fishing trip of your life, hunting, or you want to go on eco tours, freshwater or saltwater, give Gross Savon a call right outside of Lake Charles. The true sportsman's paradise. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That's 337-598-2357. I'm going to try and go fishing. I've got a little, I'm on a coaching schedule. I'm trying to go before the Jamborees, and the last time I could fish in about 4 months. So, Coach, getting back to your team, speaking of the two players that you mentioned, I saw Moss play a couple of years ago, and speaking of electric speed, I mean, I know Marquise was good that went to Houston, but Moss rivals him in football speed and track speed. This kid can fly. I think he's one of the best corners in the state, and he even plays wide receiver for you.
So he plays everything. He plays quarterback, running back, wide receiver, nickel, corner, safety. I think that's what translates the most is his knowledge of the game. He gets to where he needs to be quicker because he knows the game, offense and defense. And so, that he may not have the top end, 10.5 speed, but with his intelligence, his 10.8, 10.9 speed now looks like it's 10.5 on film. Very quick and elusive. He's I've been saying since his freshman year, he's the best all-around football player in North Louisiana.
He's good. Man, Coach, look, I watch a lot of football. He's good. He's national recruit. He's
yes, sir. Yeah.
And look, I want to brag on him for you. Vandy's offered him. Minnesota's offered him. Baylor's offered him. He's got a lot of big offers, and I really believe you know this too. When the season's over, he has a chance to be offered by all the Power 5 schools, including LSU. And I think LSU should be one that should offer him as a corner.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and they're in the office. They're calling and checking in on him. Same thing with Clemson and Texas. He's been offered by Oklahoma State, and he's got all the attention in America. I think the thing that they're a little worried about is he's 5'11" and not 6'2".
Man.
But he plays like he's 6'2", and some of these schools have noticed that and haven't been scared of his size.
I think 5'11" is perfect for corner. I think
yes,
it's
sir.
a perfect height. Coach, your other big-time player, to Darius Collins, who when you sculpture a position player and you do a cast and you do like, okay, this is what a DN's supposed to look like. To Darius Collins looks like an NFL defensive end. I mean, 6'4", 250, lean, ripped up, just like muscle, lean, athletic, long. I mean, this kid's got so much potential, huh, Coach?
Absolutely. He's a freak. He came in as a wide receiver at 6'1", 190, and a point guard on the basketball court. And then we blinked our eyes, and he was 6'4", 250, playing nose tackle, DN, 4-eye technique. But with the same athleticism, he's still out there playing point guard at 6'4", 250. He's just a freak athlete. His mom was a great basketball player for Northwood High School, Elizabeth Collins, who's a teacher at our school. But yes, he can do anything and everything, and he's working his tail off to get even more leaner and trim up a little bit more. And so the sky's the limit for him. He's the number one DN on a couple of school boards, and he's getting recruited pretty heavily.
Coach, if there's a better defensive end, I've seen them all in New Orleans and all over Louisiana. I watched the whole state. He's as good as any DN I've seen in the state. So, I mean, he's definitely one. I wouldn't be shocked if LSU offered him when the season ends, and some of these SEC schools, some other ones. We're going to take a break. You've got some other kids I want to talk about that are really, really good. You got a quarterback I want to talk about, a couple of running backs, another lineman, actually two more linemen, and a sleeper receiver, Mark Dennison, and we'll talk about the other kids when we come back. We're going to be right back. If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Madine's Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors. Welcome back. I want to thank a sponsor of ours, Gage. Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom-tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage. They also sell generators that hook up to your house. I actually purchased one for storm season this year. Be sure to look into that because I know we're always getting these losing power, and that's always good to have one. Coach, you've got some other kids. Start with quarterback Mason Welch, who's another intriguing-looking kid, 6'4", 220, got a really good arm, and really hadn't played a lot of football, and every year it just keeps getting better and better, huh, Coach?
Absolutely. He's a grown man. He has a full beard. The best thing about him is he's a hard worker. He's a cowboy, lives on a ranch. He's just helps his dad lay sod, so he's not afraid of hard work. He's in fact he invites it, but he's a student of the game. We have to kick him out of the football office. Most we're ready to go home, and he's still wanting to watch more film and get better there on the mental aspect. He's he's deceptively fast. He's been to the Elite 11 a couple of times and ran 4.7, 4.8. We hope to translate that this year in the run game with him as senior year. But he's a big, fast, very, very intelligent kid.
Yeah, I like Mason. We interviewed him with your help with the Shreveport Journal newspaper online. Check out an article we did on him and Moss and Collins. Coach, speaking of receivers, you've got another one, and I think he's got great hands. You told me about him before the season started last year. Runs good routes, deceptively fast, would be a great slot receiver in college, Mark Dennison. Tell everybody about Mark.
Yeah, he's probably the toughest kid on the team. If we told him to run through a wall, he'd do it until he got through that wall. He's great hands, great route runner. I'm not sure. He's got a Grambling preferred walk-on. I'm not sure why he doesn't have every FCS offer in the state. But we're expecting it to blow up here after this senior season. He's going to be our go-to player, and he's going to get plenty of opportunities to showcase what he can do.
Yeah, I like Mark a lot. Tough and good hands, and you got to have that guy that'll go across the middle and catch anything you throw to him and runs good routes. That's really hard to find.
In fact, yeah, he showed out versus Westgate. In the quarterfinals, had 10 catches, 130 yards, and coming across the middle, took a couple hard hits.
Coach, that's against a lot of speed too.
Yes,
Westgate's
and they're in one-on. They're playing cover one the whole game, and he had 10 catches, 130 yards while getting hit by that big-time safety they got.
Yeah, Williams, who's committed to, speaking to Burnt Orange, he's committed to Texas. Mark was catching balls, 10 passes against that defense. Wow. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to keep talking about coaches, players. We've got a couple of running backs to talk about and 2 more linemen. And this is not all his kids. We're just talking about the seniors that have a chance to sign. He's got some underclassmen, too. We'll be right back. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. Our guest is Austin Brown, the head coach of Northwood High School in Shreveport, Louisiana. I want to thank another sponsor of ours, Treads and Care. If you need tires, call them now. Treads and Care has everything you need on Hooper Road in Park Place Drive. Give them a call at 225-331-8144. 331-8144. And look, all your tire needs, pickup and delivery, they'll get you whatever you need. Treads and Care Tire Company. I've been doing business with Devin for over 30 years. Coach, getting back to your team, you've got a couple of linemen that are really under the radar. One is your nose guard, D-tackle Ted Jamison, who's 5'11", 305 pounds, with good feet. And then you got another big kid, Jamarian Kennedy, who's 6'4", 295, plays OD line for you. Both of these guys have played OD line for you, but tell everybody what you think about these two kids. They're really good players.
Yeah, absolutely. In order for Northwood to compete, we've got to play both ways. All these guys you've named, it's been the culture for us the last couple of years. From January, we make them believe. We call it like our special forces. If you're going to be one of our top players, you've got to play both ways. So these O-line, D-linemen believe in it, and they play 120-plus snaps a game, and they excel at both sides. But Kennedy is the number one guard there on Louisiana Tech, Tulane, ULL, on all their boards. He's really an SEC center, but he doesn't play center first. He plays left tackle, but he's going to translate to a guard probably at the next level, move to the inside. Extremely athletic. He's got skinnier ankles than our DBs and wide receivers have, but he's got a big lower half and very strong. We run GT counter 25 times a game. It's no secret, and his pull and kicks and wraps are devastating. He finishes those plays, and what's really impressive is when we run our screens and he's beating our running backs down the field. Ted Jamison is if you could carve up a high school nose tackle, 5'11", 305. He's a power lifter, squats and deadlifts, 600 pounds. That's the prototypical high school nose tackle. Yeah. He hasn't had much defense. And in the spring football, he only played spring practices. He only played nose tackle last year, and got 2 offers just off practice film. So, we think and just off coaches coming through practice, we think he's going to blow up this year, and you can see that his speed and his strength translates to the football field. Which, just like we talked about Marquez, sometimes that track speed, don't translate to the football field, and sometimes that power lift and strength doesn't translate. Right. But for him, it does, and I've got to pull him out of practice sometimes because offense can't even get a snap off. He's tearing up the O-line.
I love him, Coach. Like you said, those skinny ankles, number 67, Kennedy. Wow, man, watching him pull for you, I marked him as a D1 when I saw him last year. And then Jamison is disruptive, and he's got good feet. He can go side to side for a big old boy and run down ball carriers, which is not something you see a lot in high school. Coach, when we come back, we got a couple of running backs I want to talk about who also play multiple positions for you. A couple under the radar running backs that might have a chance to blow up big time, possibly D1 and 1AA on these guys. We'll be right back with more of our guest, Austin Brown, the head coach, Northwood High School in Shreveport. We'll be right back. Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life. Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. Before we get into anything, I want to thank one more sponsor of ours, Medine's Collision Center. If you need any body work to your car or truck, give Medine's Collision Center a call at 357-7983. That's 225 area code. On Kincaid Avenue in Baton Rouge, Chris Medine, Dominica Medine, and their son does a good job there. Give them a call. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors, 357-7983. Great people, great family. Coach, famous people to graduate from Northwood High School. I found it. You were telling me about a golfer earlier. Hal Sutton is a graduate of Northwood High School. He's one of the best golfers to ever come out of Louisiana.
Yeah, and Shreveport's a pretty rich area there in golfing, and one from Calvary right now. I don't follow golf, but I know he's from Calvary. He's tearing it up right now in the PGA.
Yeah.
Hal Sutton is the Shreveport guy from Northwood High School. He's our alumni, and our current students are very proud of him and what he's brought to Northwood.
And then obviously David Toms came out of Shreveport area. David Toms was a great one at LSU. Coach, you got two running backs that are really, really under the radar. Contavious White, who's got size, 5'11", 190, and speed. And then you got Fabian Sanders, who plays running back for you at 5'9", with a little power, 181, and also plays defense. And also Contavious White plays defense. What do you think of these two kids?
Yeah, thunder and lightning for us. The best part is they're scary. And like all offensive players, they always want the ball, but these guys are great friends. They know what each one of them is good at and what the other one's great at. So there's never been an issue as far as splitting carries. Q White is our pounder. He's gonna stick it in there, and you look at him and you're like, there's no way this guy weighs 190. But he's always running forward, never been knocked backwards, and his passion for the game of football is infectious. He's really one of our team leaders there, and his passion, which is a lot of high school kids don't have anymore, but he's got it, and he loves the game, and it's really fun to see. Fabian is our lightning. He's akin to our former running back Terrence Cook, who's the school's all-time leading rusher. Very quick, great vision with home run speed. Like I said, they're our thunder and lightning there.
Coach, those are two really good backs. Again, I've interviewed a lot of your kids the last 2 months for the Journal and Louisiana Football Magazine. And one thing that I can say, these kids are mature, they're focused, they're dialed in, they're good kids. And y'all are doing a good job, man, coaching these guys and developing them. And you can tell just from the weight room, you can tell on the field they're strong, they're quick. I don't know who your speed coach is. I don't know if it's you or someone else, but all your guys, I know they play the whole game, but, man, they don't look tired for playing a whole game.
Yes, sir. I'm the head track coach and sprint coach as well, and we take a very different approach. We don't run miles. We don't gas them. Everything we do is built around speed and anaerobic conditioning, training the different energy systems. We do very little aerobic stuff. And that's, I think it translates more to the O-line, D-line. You've mentioned multiple times how quick and fast our O-line, D-line are. And the weight room's great. We love the weight room, but we spend more time training speed and explosiveness outside than we do in the weight room.
Austin, before we go, I got a couple of questions for you. One, LSU fans want to know this in Baton Rouge. Do you think that that Collins, your big DN, and maybe Moss, your corner, is there a chance they might come to an LSU game this year or visit at any point?
Absolutely. Being Louisiana boys, they hometown offer would be amazing, and our home state offer would be amazing. And I know Coach Joe Sloan is still recruiting them and staying in contact. So we hope to have them down at an LSU game. I believe Collins was at one last year, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, I know an offer from them or a visit from them would anytime you're from Louisiana, it's hard to pull them boys out when they get an LSU offer.
Coach, the last question I always have for someone that's newly to Louisiana, people always want to know what's your favorite foods in Louisiana. Being that you're from Oklahoma, I know you came from barbecue capital of the world, but what do you think about? I know you were in Northwestern Natchitoches for a while, those meat pies and that kind of stuff. But what do you think of the food in Louisiana? What are some of your favorite food items in Louisiana since you've come over from Oklahoma?
Yeah, before I moved, I'd never had seafood of any kind before. And got here, and I'm eating frog legs and alligator, things I never knew people ate. I love it all, man. I got a funny story. I was eating shrimp for the first time a couple years ago, and I didn't know you had to peel the tail or do whatever you had to do to eat it. So I just stuck the whole thing in my mouth. And my daughter, who was 8 or 9 at the time, starts yelling at me, and she's all embarrassed. I don't know how to eat it. But I'm fully Louisiana now, so I eat everything and don't turn anything down now.
Coach Brown, glad to have you, and you're doing a great job, and good luck to you this year with Northwood High School. I know it's going to be a long, competitive year. Y'all play some good teams, and just hope you can keep getting. I know the team's going to be ready to play this year.
Absolutely, we pride ourselves on being ready to play anytime, anywhere, and no matter the opponent, playing hard. So I appreciate those kind words.
Don't hang up yet. We're going to end the show. Again, be sure to go to our website if you're a parent listening to pre-order our preview magazine, lafootballmagazine.com. This is our 26th year, Coach, to put out our preview magazine on all the high schools, all the colleges. And Northwood will have a great write-up out of Shreveport, and all the schools in the state will be in there, and all the colleges, even Northwestern State, where Coach was at one time, is previewed. LSU, Tulane, UL, Southern, Southeastern, Grambling, ULM of Monroe, Louisiana Tech, ULL, all of if I leave somebody out, I'm sorry. Louisiana Christian, not Louisiana College anymore. It's called Louisiana Christian. They're also in the preview. Hope everybody has a great Monday. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.